students on campus do you know never have face-to-face interaction, and everything is done online, undergraduate and graduate?
I know graduate, we're at least well over 1,000, I think. That probably don't.
But what about undergraduate?
Less. Is anybody here with the BIS or the?
Yeah, there's going to be about 20, I'm going to say 15 or 20 a year that graduate that have probably never been on campus.
Undergrad?
Undergrad.
For recreation, we have a totally online program, undergraduate program. For folks that do. We have about 25 programs.
So that's 40 so far.
And growing.
And growing.
Yeah.
We have elementary that people never in campus or our distance sites.
And I do concur there's a difference between undergrad and graduate. I think there's a real, this is another blame the victim territory. There is a huge movement to say, well, once you're a grad student, these things don't matter. You should just be responsible for your own education. It's blame the victim speak. You know, we need to embrace, every graduate student who's here on campus gets embraced. You know, I asked Dr. Childress right before we came in, I said, do you feel like you have a stronger connection with the people who actually went through this program face to face, because you see them a lot, you see them in the lab, etc. And the answer was yes. So instead of saying, well, once you're online, you don't get that, I think we should strive to at least do some easy things to bring those people in and say, yeah, you're a full-fledged member. And it matters in the bottom line. You know, it's the dollars that we're losing tomorrow. We're kind of killing the golden goose today because we're like, hey man, we can make the dollars off these people. I mean, again, this is kind of what my survey data showed. We're collecting the money. We're excited about that. We're bringing a lot more people, but all the people are saying, I have no affiliation with ESU when I leave. So down the road, and it's not just they won't donate money to the college, they won't feel like full-fledged professionals. You know, I want to be able to talk to people in this field who I was in class with. I want to have those relationships. Anyway.
I'm very sensitive to everything you're saying, probably because I really am inclined to be a social person myself, and so that's where my bias typically starts, just in all fairness to what I'm about to say. That is that when I think of striving to meet the needs of distance students, I have to think of how many thousand miles I've traveled in the last 10 years to make that happen, because we deliver our Master of Library Science program in all our regional programs. And we hold face-to-face classes to meet this, to fill this gap, to fill this need that our MLS students tell us, just like you're telling, is there. And so we not only have face-to-face classes, 15 seat hours for every credit hour, we have technology-assisted instruction throughout the entire semester. So we're doing two things, I think, instead of one thing. And we're doing it primarily because that's what our students say they want and need.
Yeah, and you know, maybe if there is, again, this richer fabric outside your classrooms, then students are less, see, that's the thing, everything's getting pushed into the classroom. I feel isolated, classroom, deal with it. So again, I'm just hypothesizing.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that there's such a big balancing act to do here, because I think there's the tendency to it's kind of an all or none thing, that if we are all face to face, then we have to, as you say, look for these opportunities to create the social fabric of life, or we take on this other extreme that leads to the school and a small number of resources, mind you, creating two things that are really pretty rich with content and technology and opportunities. And I believe this discussion has to happen, and we have to we have to talk about to what extent can people strive? I mean, how much more can some people give, or how much more should some people give to find this good place? And you know, social cognition is a concept that has been studied extensively since the beginning of correspondence, the old traditional correspondence kind of education.
Yeah.
So there is a well-established body of knowledge in cognitive science around this notion of social cognition. And it does have a great deal to do with the extent to which people are satisfied with their learning experiences on a whole lot of levels, including the learning of content. And so I just think that, you know, as an institution, we need to really, we need to have some serious conversations about how do we even these things out, given the resources that we have, so that all of our students, regardless of which degree program they're in,
Right.
has some level of visibility, whatever that is. If it, you know, like you say, there's a lot more ways than one to have that, and have those social connections. I'm all for it. I'm just telling you, I want you to know, you know, as you ponder all of this and you take up your own work in this regard, that you continue to think about the fact that sometimes we even overdo it in hopes of filling.
I agree,
that
and
need.
I think there are a lot of inspired individuals, and that's why I'll throw the caveat out there again. I don't think it's because people aren't doing enough. I see people almost doing too much. It's a frontier right now. We're learning how to do it, and I think what we need to do is relieve the pressure on some of the inspired individuals, and just institutionalize a few things outside of classrooms. So individuals aren't having to do 8 important jobs. And the thing is, you have a bunch of individuals all doing the same job. Some things could be centralized outside here and relieve a lot of pressure.